I have a question about, I guess, the genesis of this for you. I know it is a book, but I want to know why. Where? Why? How?
You're going to have to talk to my psyche.
Okay, because I know it was also, you adapt, it's different
You
from
know,
the
I
book.
don't think you make decisions as a director about things like this. You fall in love. Sorry?
It's the robots talking.
Okay. Well, anyway, I fall in love with material, and I know I'm in love because I can't stop thinking about it. And then I go like, oh shit, hell, I'm going to have to do another film. And it's such a big job, but then the enthusiasm and the excitement takes over. And I really loved the book. I really loved Thomas Savage. I mean, I'm really so proud to be here with his work, which wasn't appreciated during his life. And I think 5 other people owned the rights to this amazing piece of work. Paul Newman included in that group. And it never happened, so I was a little bit voodooed by that, like, ooh. Yes. Could be the same for us. But, yeah.
I mean, your films always seem to be, it's like it's relationships that are so, just humanity against this, like a landscape. So it's like you just see humans so small, again, in full relief, all of their humanity. They're all of it. And to see, I know that you and Ari, this is the first feature that you have worked together. And I for something that also, I promise I'll get to a point, for something that also seems to be about such performative masculinity, it's so beautiful how many women there seem to be behind the camera holding it, and maybe also holding your performance
Giving birth
too.
to it?
Giving birth to it, yeah. It's pretty remarkable, and also holding your performance too, Benedict. I don't know if you felt that as well, but...
Yeah, I had many mothers on this project.
Yeah, a lot of doulas.
Many people giving birth to Phil. No, I did. I mean, these guys can be far more articulate about how they, gestated their kind of ideas and their framing for this extraordinary narrative. But there were specific things whereby, yeah, it felt like we were all discovering it together, and we had that moment, especially in the sacred place, where Phil becomes more of his authentic self, where he's still exploring essentially his memory, his connection to his past, where that takes a very different turn, and there was a very different turn of filming, much more handheld and stand-backish and just witnessing. But yeah, I felt incredibly held aloft by Jane. You know, I've never worked so closely in parallel with a director to find the resources to play a character, but also to delve into the psyche of a character and to curate something with care and ownership and, reverence for the original material. And to do that with someone of her discography, but also just someone who's so profoundly up for a new challenge, who's as vulnerable and scared to jump into the unknown as I was just like, instant friendship as well as an amazing artistic experience to go on. And then on the day to be asked to be in character all the time and given full permission to be him, it's quite far away from who I am. So, I didn't have to apologize or people please. I was allowed to be him and introduced to the crew as him so yeah, very much held in a space whereby all the sensitivity and rage and, destructive power of him could be let free.
I didn't realize that. So you were introduced to the crew as Phil, and you were...
Yeah, Jane said in her best, she went, this is Phil, you're working with Phil. Benedict's really nice, you'll meet him at the end of the shoot. That's my Jane, that's the best Jane I can do.
So Kirsten, you met Phil, then, yeah, okay.
Yeah, poor Kirsten.
Oh, gosh.
We were friends at the weekend.
Now, did you cast Jesse and Kirsten separately, or were interested in that alchemy, or did...
Jesse first, obviously. And also, how great is Jesse in the film?
Oh my God! Honest,
I wish
yes.
he was here.
I wish he was here. Yes.
It's so sad
beautiful.
for me getting ready tonight. I FaceTimed him in the car coming here. I know it's such a heartbreak not to have him here with all of us. But
that scene with the two of you.
Get him on the phone now.
Yeah, you should call him right now.
I would.
That scene with the two of you is like I was while I was watching it, I was like, I can't wait for her to show that to their children.
I felt the same
It's
way.
so
I
stunning.
think the same thing.
It's so beautiful. But did you think of them to get, or was it just kind of a
Well, it
witchy,
sort of
amazing?
tumbled out, didn't it, really?
Mm.
Sort of tumbled out, and I'm so thrilled it did tumble this way. As Kirsten kept advertising, you could do with the price of one, you know. Accommodation will be really easy.
It's
But
a twofer.
I've been in love with Kirsten since Virgin Suicides. I mean, I'm seriously in love. I mean, that was such a amazing film. And then seeing Melancholia, I mean, hell. So she's an actress that I'm, was deeply interested in, and she's such a darling to talk to. I remember that first little, Zoom, whatever, was it? FaceTime, whatever
I
thing
remember
we did.
it very, as soon as we got off the phone, you
She
were
was
like,
like,
will you
super-
be my rose? I was
Super business-like. And I think Tanya was there too. Anyway, I love her. And she is that brilliant actress. Like, she just has to put clothes on a line, and I'm just riveted.
I mean, the scene with the gloves, like, are those
Oh my
are these
God.
beats, and the scene with the rabbit, like, there's certain beats. Are those written in, or are they discovered on the day? Are those the scene with the gloves was that kind of discovered? Yeah.
it's written and also discovered by me. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
written by Jane, but discovered by
Of course.
I think it's mutual. It's mutual, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess as a director, I'm totally up for the actors exploring everything, and I love it,
Yeah.
like to see something you haven't thought of yourself. I mean, the bunny scene, I remember shooting that and just keeping shooting it because the more crazy it got, the better I loved it.
I mean, Kodi, you are so beautiful in this. Just beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And your strength and authenticity in throughout the whole thing, just like your just anchor of sense of self throughout the whole thing is so just remarkable to watch you hold on to that. That walk that you do is like, is remarkable. And I was saying this to my friend earlier, that because I'd been able to see part of the film, I hadn't seen the end until right now. I was like, what? But when you are on Benedict's face and you have that in you to just kill the rabbit, and you have that in you to it's the scientist in you. It's all the things are there all along to lead us to what you end up doing at the end.
Yeah.
But we just don't know. Anyway, your performance is so remarkable. I don't know if you have anything you'd like to talk about, your sense of how you got into this character. How's that for a moderator question, you guys?
You're
How am I doing so
you don't
far?
have to talk.
Love.
You do it for
Beautiful,
us.
we love it.
Best moderator.
I love having the option to just be quiet, so thank you for that, first of all. But I'll do my job. I fell in love with Peter. I guess I saw it as a great challenge to.
And PETA, the Ethical Treatment of Animals Association. No, I'm kidding. But I'm sure they were involved.
Yes, they were. They were watching me. Yes, with strong eyes. Yeah, I love the character. I love the fact that I guess like all of us, we judge him right off the bat, like everyone does around him, and unwillingly we just think he's somewhat naive, or I guess weak, or just doesn't see anything really coming. And I just love that he proves us so wrong, and he shows that how much we generalize, I guess, the idea of strength, what it means as to a woman or to a man. He kind of disproves all of that with great courage and an unwavering spirit to anyone that combats him in that. So I loved it. I loved falling in love with him, I guess.
And then and to see you with your when you become your mother's keeper also, like you're such a child at the beginning, and when you see that scene with her when she's crawling towards you, I don't know if
that just speaks to me, like the dynamic overall. My mom is a single mother, and she looks after my 16-year-old brother, who he himself is on the spectrum, and he blows me away. He's amazing. But you know, sometimes he can be a bit of a handful in the things that he deals with. And for the dynamic of my mother and I mean, I feel sometimes I'll be crying on her shoulder at times in my life, and then sometimes we have to switch roles, and she's crying on mine. Yeah. So I think that's poetical, and it's something beautiful that I got to explore here.
And as an editor, have you worked together? Please forgive my naivete, but have you both worked together before, Jane and Peter?
No,
No.
This was the first time, but it was really fun. Jane's really nice. It's very friendly.
Well, we sort of didn't even bother with the friendship, did we? That just bloomed.
That's true.
I mean, the other day Peter said to me, "I really miss you." I never thought I'd hear those words from him, because he's like you know, the king of the dudes, you know, in Sydney, and I never go drinking with him and do all that stuff.
That's not
and
true,
you know, it's true, you are, and you know that you even miss me. I'm so touched. But you know, we're good mates on the in the endeavour, don't you think?
Yeah, it was a long time, and the first couple of weeks we worked together was actually like I was in hotel quarantine, and Jane could only see like my head because I was on a tiny hotel desk. So it was a kind of weird
eyebrows. I saw eyebrows and forehead.
Yeah, well, they're prominent, so it's easy.
Wait, that's how you edited a lot of the beginning of the film?
Just the beginning.
Yeah.
But we didn't really know each other, so it was like a kind of weird way to start.
Yeah, it was, but it was also beautiful because we were by ourselves. You know, like there was like three of us. We were in New Zealand. There was no. I'm a producer, but I don't count myself. There was no producers there, and we just kind of did the work, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a completely beautiful thing, puzzling over a film. There's so much problem solving to do, and I think that's what we both love doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was, there was a lot of, you know, there's so much great stuff to play with from all these guys, and, you know, it was just a joy to really get into it and start figuring things out.
Pete's really great. He's really analytical, and he's also super intuitive, which is sort of what you want.
The music also is so beautiful. Oh, yes. And adds so much. And I was as a fan and as someone that has loved your work for so long, it was so interesting for me just to notice the piano being used in this, and not being as enjoyed passionately this time around. But the music added was so extraordinary in this.
Johnny Greenwood, just the simple words are, he is a genius.
Yeah.
He is a genius, and his method, he makes composing for film seem like so simple, but only he could do that. I mean, let me just say that Johnny uses classical instruments and he repurposes them. Mm-hmm. And it's like he changes the whole of what music can be and feel like, so it feels fresh.
Yeah.
And that's what's so completely extraordinary, and it's not a simple thing to do. I think it's because he's from Radiohead and he's thinking differently, that he's completely changed the whole way that you hear music, and yet he's still emotional with it. He still finds the harmonics and that yearning quality that classical music can have, but it's never sounded like that before.
No. Yeah, it's gorgeous. I mean, I was wondering, when you write, you don't have specific actors then in your mind. It kind of emerges as the script takes shape, and then these humans kind of entered into they kind of became the people that were the parts, that were the people. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because I can't, I sometimes people write thinking of someone, and I can't, I just can't imagine anybody else but this cast. Like, it just seems so baked into the novel even. I
do think they're all really perfect, and I'm so grateful to them, but they made themselves perfect. There was a, kind of transformational process, I think, for all of them. Maybe not you, Kodi.
I see. You saw that little look that I did? Yeah, I did a little look.
You came made.
What is? I bet you have done so many of these Q&As. What is something that you haven't been asked yet, and you would love to answer?
Why I didn't get the role of Phil when I.
Great. Okay. Let's just get out.
I think I would have killed that. Okay.
I
did
would
good.
have.
Yeah, why not as well?
You kind of do have the role of Phil, though, in an interesting
Yes.
way.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think it was to see you, though, Benedict. I've never. I mean, I'm still just to see. To think of you then as Phil throughout the making of this process must have been a hard place for you to be. I know you, in hindsight, I mean, it's like pregnancy and labor. Like you forget the pain on the other side, and you want to do it again. But it must have been a really intense place to be, and very isolating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, this whole thing. There's
But,
so much
it's not-
isolation.
yeah, but I mean, I think often actors talk about how much they suffer for their role. I
Sure,
can't
sure,
bear
sure,
that.
sure.
I fucking love my job.
Yeah.
And we're so lucky to do it, you know. That you know, whatever you go to, whatever you use of yourself, forget pain. You know, you're able to express pain. How often are you able to do that if you experience real pain in life in those situations? There's so much catharsis in what we do. But yeah, I mean, you know, I guess it's rare to carry such an extraordinary secret in such a complex character. It's even rarer to have that is sort of exposed through the narrative as well, and to be given that private space to delve into that. And yeah, there were days where it was difficult. Of course there were, but you know, I'm literally exposing myself in this film, and that's interesting. I guess the most painful thing to me, if I'm fucking honest, is trying to pretend I can play the banjo, because you know. That's someone who's done it all their life, and I'm trying to master it in like 4 weeks or something stupid. And that is, there's nothing like pulling yourself out of faking it and believing in what you're doing in a moment than playing a musical instrument that you can't play. Yeah. That's tough. That's when I wanted her part, and I didn't get it. But yeah.
I didn't know how to play the piano, and I had to learn how to play the piano. That's not easy either. I mean,
No.
listen.
It's not a competition.
Saying.
But if it was, did you learn to roll a
I
cigarette and ride a horse and do branding and castrate?
I
and
could do
whistling
it,
and
Benedict.
do
If
whistling
Jane
and do
gave me
roping?
the role of Phil, I could do it.
Of course, she can't do anything.
There's just, I wonder if, there's so many things. I mean, I'm still working it out like we all are in real time. What we just saw, the fact that it was, anyway, Kodi.
Yes.
Did you, when taking on this, or when you were asked to do this, you have such an effortless confidence about you when working with this group of humans that's so established, and I'm always so thrown by a young person that is just fully formed, confident, that just kind of comes out of nowhere and is just so self-possessed. Jane, was it like that working with him, and did you feel nervous, or were you just?
No, he was Peter. He was Peter, better than the book. That's what I thought the moment he walked in the door for the audition, or whatever it was. It wasn't really audition. It was like, hello, you're Peter. Thank God you've arrived. We were getting desperate. I mean, occasionally he tells me he was nervous, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
in the
surprised,
sense,
you know, like I didn't realize, but yeah, he does have feelings.
I mean, since we're on that subject, of course, before there's the performance in which most of the world sees, you have your blood, sweat, and tears that you put in since I was 8 years old. So I got to give a nod to my dad, who's in the audience.
Where is your dad?
Well
He's somewhere in
done,
that
Dad.
abyss.
Hi,
Hey, hello, my dad. Hey, Dad.
Oh, well done,
My dad's in the
Dad.
Really?
audience. Both
this
are
is my
dads.
moment. So no, I'm joking. I'm so sorry. I have a horrible sense of humor as well. My father was my coach and mentor for my younger years when I got into acting. So we have an amazing relationship, traveled the world a lot, and I'm blessed to have done that. But I've led the shift for a while now myself and found great passion in that. And I know that word's thrown around a lot, but I truly mean that. But with the guidance of Jane, I was able to be challenged and poked and prodded in the best way possible to go beyond and to find new territory in terms of character development and techniques and revisit ones that you think you're too good for or you're left in the past. It's a really good opportunity to be able to surrender to your ego and its defiance and your pride, and to remind yourself that you're always a student of your craft, and not that, but the world. So thank you, Jane. Thank you, Dad. Thank you.
And I guess, Kirsten, was it like an interesting muck to be in with Jesse, with your husband, to be like working with him in this terrain? I know you guys have worked together before, and your love, it's so like I was saying, like it's such an isolating piece. People are so isolated from each other. So you were really a solitary planet yourself.
Yeah, we were very, we had to be very reserved with each other, because I remember one time I just like linked his arm and Jane was like, it seems a little too familiar. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Because, it's hard to...
Jessie, stop holding her hand.
I mean, for me, whatever, but to have him there when I just had a hard day, it's not an easy... Rose is someone who's just very alone in her own head, and it's creating like a very painful, insecure place within yourself. And so it was nice to have someone to have lunch with and give you a hug, who's your best friend, and someone who is there for you. I mean, I fell in love with him creatively first, and so he's my partner in that with every role that I do from now on. He's just there for me and I'm there for him. And so to have that, it's the best. So yeah, I'm very lucky.
So dreamy. So dreamy. So cute. So cute. The cinematography, I had no idea that you had not worked before, other than like a 2-day thing you were saying before this. And it seemed, I would love to hear just a second before we wrap up about what your process was like and how you worked together and what that felt like. Were you, I guess how it felt and what it was.
Yeah, first of all, I wanted just to say I love how kind of speechless you are right now, because it's exactly what we wanted as an effect. To have someone get to the end of the film and kind of not really be able to put a word on what they were feeling, because it's this, and it's really like to have no one specific feeling, but almost like two feelings together. Yes. So I actually... I love it. It's exactly what we really wanted to create this. I mean, for me, like a whole film is heading towards an end feeling. It's the experience of watching it, but it's what you're left with, that kind of enduring sensation of the last point or the last moment. And for us, we really wanted something really complex. It wasn't one thing. It was a lot of things together, and also then that hopefully once, as the credits are rolling, you're starting to like replay some things. I remember this one post-it note I had on my folder, that little snippet that Jane had said of a retrospective experience, and a film that would kind of, you could watch it in real time and then maybe start watching it again in your head and trying to think back, or maybe watch it again and have another different experience the second time. And that's, yeah, I mean, it's a good aspiration to have, but then you have to figure out how to do it, because there's no formula for that.
I mean, I think you're getting the feeling that Ari thinks like a director. And which is brilliant, to have a DOP or a cinematographer that actually really loves story. Yeah. But the other thing you got to know about Ari is that she's a sort of child of light.
Yeah,
and
I'm quite
dreams
obsessed.
about it, thinks about it, obsessed about it. And magical with it.
Yeah, that's my definite obsession of kind of physics and poetry come together, and you're first of all got to decide how you want something to look and then execute it. So both of those are super satisfying. But yeah, Jane and I spent an entire year together before we started shooting.
Not every day.
We did.
But we had it as it was our primary thing, right?
What's that, sorry?
That year, we didn't do anything else.
No, I mean, you can't.
But we
think
didn't
about
only
it.
do that. No.
I mean, I didn't do anything else. Did you? What did you get up to?
I don't know, massages, I don't know, whatever else. Like casting different things. But,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
yeah. But we
it's-
were talking just before in the green room. Like, we gave ourselves enough time that we didn't really know anything else we could do except start. And we didn't even know if the work we had done would make the difference, because it's such a mysterious process. Yeah. But we started on day one. I was really anxious. And I think the work started, kicking in. We'd done it, and we knew what to do.
Yeah, even, I guess
somehow.
even if all the shots, or we did very extensive storyboarding and planning, and again, like you say, you don't really know if it's going to
Yeah,
work.
because I mean, the world is a lot more complicated than your little stick drawings or whatever,
Yeah, your little feeble little sketches.
But somehow you are educated in a way that you wouldn't be, and that you're marinated in a way that you wouldn't be, with this time together, this special source of thinking about it in so many different ways, and looking at the locations and just hanging out together, so that we were very tight.
Yeah, and after a year, your instincts are so honed as to know whether it's right or feels right for
And
what
we
we're doing.
really trusted each other. If one person saw something, we'd go with it, knowing that, and then we'd piggyback on each other a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, we.
I can hear it. Even you guys are finishing each other's sentences. But I mean, when you said that about the having it be the experience of looking backward, and I was just imagining, Benedict, your face, your like child face being put in the coffin, like to see all of the artifice that we had been seeing on Phil, like it's stripped down at that moment, was like really hit me. You're the amount of work that man had to do to keep up maintain that facade, that performance, which was his performance was so compelling, like Phil's was just extraordinary. Anyway, you guys, I love this movie. I mean, you guys were at the Man's Chinese Theater, and we just saw a goddamn Jane Campion movie. With these amazing human beings. Anyway, be safe, and thank you, AFI, for having all of us. And again, let's just a round for this amazing, amazing group of artists. We're so lucky. We're so lucky.